I think most of us have played the telephone game. Somebody whispers something at the start, and by the end of the line, the message barely resembles what it originally said. So I think we would all agree that going to the person at the end of the line is not the best way to get the original message. You want to go to the person who started it, or the people closest to him. This is logical. So why don't we do this with Christianity? There are writings from the people at the beginning of the line, people directly discipled by the apostles and their disciples. And it would only make sense that they heard the message most clearly about what it means to love your enemies, to not resist an evil person, to not accumulate wealth, to not make oaths, to not divorce and remarry, or get involved with political power. To say that they got it wrong is a very big claim. And to say that thousands of years later, now we have it right, we finally figured it out, that's pretty crazy. The earliest Christians had a very non-complicated view of Jesus' words. To love your enemies meant to love your enemies. You bless your persecutors. You refuse to retaliate. You willingly suffer wrong. They refused to go to war or kill anybody. They lived simply, gave generously. They did not store up riches on earth. They understood that marriage lasts until death. They understood Jesus' teachings to mean that while your first spouse lives, there is no remarriage. They refused to take an oath. They let their yes be yes and their no be no. They submitted to their governments, understanding that governments have been put in place by God to bear the sword, to keep evil at bay, which has nothing to do with Christians. Guys, how the church believes today is almost the exact opposite of this. Just war is a Christian duty. Self-defense is a God-given right. Wealth is fine when it's used rightly. Divorce and remarriage are totally fine. Oaths are lawful and important. Christians should serve in the government. The church ushers in God's kingdom through the ballot. So I want to ask you, who has it right? The people at the beginning of the telephone line or the people at the end? It's very difficult for me to see how the people who knew the apostles and their disciples and were taught by them directly, they somehow got it wrong. But today we have it right. Jude 1:3 says that we are to contend for the faith that was once and for all delivered to the saints, not the faith that was progressively clarified centuries or even thousands of years later until it started looking exactly like the world. We need to open up our eyes and see that we are not practicing the historic faith.